Hello there. Hello there. Welcome back to the Agostino Zinga Show with your host, Agostino Zinga. And this is episode number 956. That's episode number 956 of the Agostino Zinga Show, coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location somewhere in the depths of East London. How you doing? How you feeling? Great. Amazing. Good to hear. Good to hear. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling sparkly. I'm feeling shiny. The sun was shining. The sun was shining through the right-hand side of the screen. I'm talking to you right now, but the sun has disappeared because I decided to stream. And you know how the sun is with me. The sun and me aren't friends. The sun and me aren't friends. We're not really friends out of that, so I'm not looking forward to it. But regardless, I'm looking forward to many things coming up in the next few months. It's going to be a hectic one for me, a busy one for me, but I cannot wait. The first thing to get out of the way will be, for me anyway, particularly, we'll be going to Berghain at the end of the month. At the end of the month, I'm going to go see the Innovision 20th anniversary in Berghain Panorama Bar. It's going to be an absolute blast. I cannot wait. I've never actually been in Berlin for like an Innovision event. I've always seen them play in London and whatever else it may be, in Amsterdam, but I've never actually, well, that was Dixon only, but I've never been to like an Innovision type event in Berlin, let's say. Like an event that's like house. Mostly I go to this for my techno and shit. Obviously I go to Paloma Bar to listen to to the Powerhouse rave there. Big up Finn Johansson, one of the best raves in Berlin. I swear to God, one of the best parties, not the raves, one of the best parties in Berlin. It's called Powerhouse. They've got Powerhouse and Power Disco. Obviously, you can tell by the name which one has which genre. But honestly, crazy fun. I have a good time over there. But that's the last one I've been to. So it's going to be quite fun as well to be in Berghain on the day when most of the programming, the entire programming, is centered around house. That's going to be a real mind trip. Because I've only been in there when it's like boom, boom, boom. Super dark music. Everyone wearing black. People having massive stacked boots, harnesses everywhere, chokers everywhere, you know. So it's gonna be quite interesting to see people dressed up in like for lack of a better term, like a multi-sex way. You know how multi-sex is, right? That rave or that party out there in Berlin, they all dress kind of like in fashion clothes and stuff. They're a little bit more colorful. It's gonna be funny to see those people in Berghain because usually I don't see them in Berlin. So I'm looking forward to that one. And of course, some other stuff coming for the future when that kind of hurdle comes apart. When that hurdle comes closer, I will let you know. But for now, those are the main trips I have going forward. Anyway, today's show is jam-packed with stuff I want to talk to you about. So sit back, relax, wherever you may be. Grab yourself a coffee, a drink, whatever you're doing right now. And let's get into some important cultural commentary stuff to cover while we are alive. Number one thing that just popped up on my timeline. Number one thing, put on my timeline. Don't ask me what it's about. Don't ask me who the people are involved. Don't ask me for too much information. But I'm just going to talk about what I know off the kind of surface level for what I'm seeing. So some of you guys will know who Jadon Sancho is, right? English football player, played for United, played for Borussia Dortmund, played for Chelsea. He's currently on loan at Aston Villa. And many of you will know who Saweetie is, right? Saweetie, rapper, whatever, socialite, IG model, whatever you want to call her, but I guess she's mostly known as a rapper. Well, them two are dating now at the moment. Saweetie and Jadon Sancho are currently dating at the moment. I think there was a picture went viral of Jadon getting Saweetie's name. I don't know what her real name is. Forgive me, but whatever Saweetie's real name is, I remember seeing a picture of Jadon Sancho getting a tattoo of her on the back of his neck, on the back of his ear, behind his ear, something like that, right? And whatever, they've been seen around town, London. People have spotted Saweetie around England and stuff in random places. So they're together. Well, randomly, when I checked my fucking social media feed, especially X, that's where all the mess is. All the mess is on X. All the mess is on X. When I jumped on X, I saw this on my timeline. I was like, oh my God. Prayers and thoughts go out to fucking Jadon Sancho. I saw this random thread. And this person here says, Bodega Baddie says, oh, Maybach Mayy spilling the tea on Saweetie. She says she owed money and wants her to pay up. So I don't know who Maybach Mayy is. I'm assuming Maybach Mayy is some sort of madame. Maybe some sort of pimp. I don't know. But whoever Maybach madame is, she's not happy that Saweetie hasn't paid her money. And you're thinking to yourself, why does Saweetie owe Maybach Mayy money? Well, the screenshots will tell us everything. we've got a screenshot here that shows Saweetie in the club somewhere, right? The screenshot shows Saweetie in the club in a very vulnerable kind of position. Looks like she might be twerking. Looks like she might be going crazy, had a couple of shots. But whatever that picture is, you can tell the pictures come from somebody that she's close with, familiar with. That'll be able to get in at her space and take the kind of picture, right? It's a picture you take of your friends on nights out all the time. But the caption is a bit dark. The caption says as follows: "Hey Saweetie, I see you playing internet games on Beyonce Internet, child. Let me know how you want to play this. I'm either going to receive my money from you, or I can start addressing some of them rumors with at TMZ. We spent almost a month in Africa. You should know I won't let you play me out of some money. When ... So this is a threat, a very veiled threat from Maybach Mayy saying, hey, I know you. Either pay me my money, I'm going to spill the tea. Well, it seemed like at the time she tweeted, maybe Saweetie wasn't awake yet, because she continued saying stuff. I tried to be nice. Nice don't get you nowhere. Kissy face emoji. Another tweet. Cocaine, witchcraft, and liquor is one hell of a mix. Send me bread. Send me the bread, home wrecker at Saweetie. So this girl is accusing Saweetie of not only doing cocaine, but also practicing witchcraft, which is interesting. I do remember there was a time, right, when I was growing up, there was a time, I'm not sure if it's a thing nowadays, but when I was growing up in the ends, a lot of the road youths, a lot of the roadmen, a lot of the gangsters, especially some of the gangsters that came over from Africa, because that was a really sad part about, you know, growing up in my area. I definitely saw a shift, a leveling up in the badness when people came from Yard, right? They came from Jamaica, or they came from the islands over to the UK. And I saw a shift in badness when some of the African guys came over from the UK. Why did I see that? Because I remember when I was in school, a lot of these guys that came from Jamaica, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Barbados, whatever, a lot of those guys and the guys came from Africa. For some reason, when they came to England, they didn't start the year in the year that they were born. You know, they didn't start school in the year that they were in, from their age, sorry. So they came to school, and some of them were like 16, 17, but they were put in year 9, you know? So there was already big men, and they come from, you know, back home. So you come from back home, you're, I don't know, you're working a real job, you got real responsibilities, you're way more mature than the kids playing around. So those kids, when they end up getting involved in badness, quote unquote, road stuff, they ended up becoming the generals or the sergeants because they had, like, you know, crazy experience back home. They were more mature, and they were also just like, you know, physically, they could do a lot. So it was kind of crazy because a lot of these families would send their kids over to the UK for a better life, but unfortunately they'd go back into that spiral. They sink deeper and deeper in the spiral of gangster stuff and end up being really, really bad kids, and sometimes end up doing the worst sort of stuff, right? Whatever it may be. But I do remember when those kids came over, they did bring with them witchcraft. That's when I first started hearing about road guys doing witchcraft, buying particular ointments, buying particular moisturizers, particular whatever stuff to protect them from the ops. So if they, and then you hear stories. This is a scary part, right? You hear stories about so and so person getting shot, so and so person getting stabbed and being alive still, and you'd be like, what? Like, this person got shot like 12 times and no bullet hit them. This person got stabbed in the neck and they're still alive. Like, crazy shit, crazy shit. So the witchcraft stuff, that's when I started hearing about it then. But I don't know what, like, an IG baddie would want witchcraft for. Is that witchcraft to get money out of guys? Witchcraft to protect you from other girls? Witchcraft to protect you from dudes? I don't know what she would want it for, but I do remember witchcraft being a big part of, like, the road scene of the gangsters in, you know, in the UK around that time, when a lot of people from Africa were coming over, a lot of people from the Caribbean islands were coming over, and they were bringing a lot of their, you know, traditions and superstitions and things and whatever, and they got a bit mad. But anyway, it continues. This girl then shares a screenshot she had with Saweetie. In the screenshot, right? In the screenshot, first of all, this girl saved Saweetie as Dee and put snow emojis next to her name. So I think that's to denote that this Saweetie girl in her phone book is known as a cokehead, I'm assuming. But in the messages, right, the girl says to Saweetie, my message to you are in blue. Oh, now here they're back, Saweetie says. Saweetie says to her, what you doing? we should do, Sweet says to that girl, we should do a big bear trip with good friends. Oh no, sorry. The girl says to Saweetie, we should do a big bear trip with good friends, co-ed. Oh my God, it's so nice here. Not even that cold. It's 2 hours from LA. Saweetie replies and says, at studio, girl, all my friends are out of state. Then Saweetie texts that girl and says to her, when bitches run it up on Jadon, how much money they doing in a weekend? She says to that girl, when bitches run it up on Jadon, how much money they doing in a weekend? I don't know about you, that would break my heart. Because now Jadon and Saweetie are together. So imagine that was the way that you got introduced to your girl. She wasn't down to hang out because she liked you. She was down to hang out because you were a fucking trick. Essentially, you were an escort. She was an escort at some point, and you were paying her for her time and services. Now, don't get me wrong. It seems like they're in a relationship now. Maybe she's falling in love with him, but that would break me. I'm not gonna lie. That would fucking break me if I saw that sort of thing. That's the kind of text you see that if you're sober, that will turn you back to the liquor. That's the type of text you see. If you're sober, that will get you back on drinking again, I swear. And then the caption from the girl says, Sancho, after you done paying and getting tattoos of a hoe you barely know, run me my money. She hates her career, so you came right on time like the trick you are. I just want what y'all owe me. So I guess this girl's trying to say she might have fronted the cash, because I guess that's what happens. A lot of these cute girls might have madams who front them the money to go on these trips with the understanding that if you find a trick, you're gonna give me back my money and some, which is a good little hustle, to be fair, right? You run around the world with a group full of baddies. If some unsuspecting guy falls in love with one of your girls, you can then get your money back and some, or continue to collect money as the trip is going on, because you can have various guys you can run off, you can kind of play off each other as you're kind of running around the world and shit. But what this got me thinking, right? What this got me thinking is like, it's kind of crazy how many girls out there on Instagram in particular are essentially one offer away from being an escort, one offer away from being a prostitute. Like, how many of them? And it got me thinking, like, I wonder if a lot of them are the ones that you can contact via message, especially on Twitter. If you see that they're available to message, some of them don't have the message thing option where you have to just go through their OnlyFans and stuff to get in contact. But if a girl has her messages open where you can kind of DM, you got to think to yourself, like, that's there just in case somebody's like, hey, I'm this and this person. I want to see you hang out for a weekend. How much? You know what I mean? And it's up to her to decide if she's going to be down or not. But Jesus Christ, man. It's kind of insane. And I'm wondering, right, with these type of arrangements, is it because girls nowadays don't mind that sort of stuff, like sex work, in the actual literal sense? Because when I think of sex work, I don't think of OnlyFans. I think of selling your body, working to sell your body, selling your body for sex. You get me? In the literal definition of it. I think of prostitution. So I wonder if, like, do girls have less hang-ups around prostitution? Do we as a society have less hang-ups about it? Or is it more to do with us collectively not wanting to work? Most people don't like working 9 to 5, right? Most people would rather just sit on their asses and do nothing. So I wonder if this is just a reflection of that. Most people don't want to work, and if they get given an option that requires them not to work, they're going to take it like Saweetie. Even though she's like, quote unquote, talented in some respects, has a her lane she's going down in the music thing, that's not making enough money. It's not paying enough to sustain her level of lifestyle. She wants more out of life. And if some guy's willing to give it to her, she's going to take it, but she's not going to sit around working a job. You know what I mean? She's not going to, you know what I mean? And it's kind of wild. It's kind of fucking wild how many of those girls are like that. So I think that's why it's probably important as a dude, talking to the dudes out there. That's why it's poor. Don't put girls on no pedestal. Don't put anybody on a pedestal, really, to be fair. Even another man. But definitely don't put women on a pedestal, because if you value stuff like this, your heart will be broken when you find out that the person you've been kind of idolizing, the person you've been dreaming about being with, is essentially one good check away from being yours. One check, one PayPal transfer, one Cash App, money request or something, That's how far away they are from you. It's not big. It's not, I mean, nothing to do with your looks, nothing to do with your level of success, your whatever. If you send the if you send the money, everything is game. Which is why I personally have never been and never will be a trick. I don't dissuade. Like I don't knock the hustle. I don't knock the hustle. Like I remember I've had times in the past where I've spoken to girls and they'd be like, yeah, send me something and then we can talk. And I'd be like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. I'll let you know, innit? I'll get back in touch. And I never obviously message them again. I'm never gonna hate on the hustle. I'm never gonna say, hey, what the fuck are you talking to? I'm never gonna take a disrespect because you gotta ask, innit? You never know. There could be one guy who's ready to just like give you the money. So you never know who's gonna give you the money. But for me personally, I just could never do it. I can never do it because I've been brought up in a certain way where that's not a win. That just isn't a win. It's never a win to, like, you know, quote unquote bag someone with money or lead with that first. Even in a club, like being in a club, popping bottles and shit, acting like you're super rich, so like you get attention. Nah. You know what I mean? I'd rather just get I'd rather get where I'm getting with my words, with my actions, you know, that doesn't amount to the wallet, as opposed to just like, do you know what I mean? All the fucking spending shit. It's not for me. But then I also think to myself, maybe I'm speaking about this from this point of view because I'm not these guys. If I'm at that level, if I'm at that Jadon Sancho level, maybe this is easy. This is easier than talking to random girls on social. Because random girls on social could also air you. They could also expose you. I mean, it's just unnecessary. But these girls are professionals, for lack of a better term. They know how to move. They know how to act. They know, you know what I mean? They've been around. They're used to this. They're not new to this. So maybe that comes with you'd rather pay for that level of comfort and peace of mind than having some random girl from Croydon, you know, screenshotting your DMs, making you sound thirsty when you're just shooting your shot. Do you get me? So I kind of get what they're going for, but I don't know. If I was Jadon Sancho, my heart would be broken that this girl was asking her friends, hey, how much do you guys run it up on Jadon? How much money do you get out of this guy? And it also is like so it's like he's had a history, which I guess is cool in a way, right? That he maybe has used that girl, Maybach Mayy, as a madam, as a woman to kind of get access to different girls. But then this is the one time he fell in love with one, in Saweetie. That could be a nice story, right? In a way, it's a nice modern day story. Like, you know, you're with this prostitute, you fell in love with her, and now you're together, sort of thing. But god damn it, man, what a crazy world we live in right now. What a crazy world. And I think a couple of last ones here says, I'll tell a joke, but I never tell a lie. I sent you Dubai because you never balled before and was depressed looking for a happy life. I took you to London, babes. Took you to Nigeria. Booked you an Australia tour. I helped this girl so much only for her to play with my money at the end. I'm just missing my money from London. Pay up, cokehead, for I start naming the rest of the husbands you was playing with. Whoa, the rest of the husbands. Jesus Christ. I also don't understand this cokehead diss for that world. I don't understand that being a slur or an insult. I don't get it. I get maybe because they're black and black people have a little bit of a weird thing about coke and stuff. But I do find it strange how girls in that sort of scene, in that sort of world, you know, like the nightlife world, the random trips, the Nobus, the jumping in and out of expensive cars, the pink, the French manicure girls, you know, all that type of shit. It's really weird how those girls have such a hang up about coke. It's like, I would assume you're doing it. That if there was a time and place, if there was a situation that would denote, that would kind of inspire, that would kind of be appropriate for you to do a bunch of coke, would be there. Would be in Ibiza, would be in Greece, would be in Bali, would be in fucking Mexico, in Brazil, as you're getting flown around the world on private jets and stuff. I would imagine you would be. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm more surprised that I would be more surprised, shocked, and disgusted that they're getting shot on. They're getting shot on their head for a Chanel bag. That's a bit lame. But if you're doing a bit of blow with some fucking financial investor guy, you're doing some 2C bubs with a footballer on a yacht somewhere, that should be normal. I don't see how that's like an insult. Oh yeah, you do. It's like, bro, I mean, you do coke. Of course I do coke. You're an escort. Of course. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you do coke if you're an escort? It makes no sense to me. Such a weird insult. But I guess, you know, in that world, maybe it seemed that way. Another screenshot from this girl. I want to make one thing clear. I booked her for an appearance to visit the Chelsea Stadium and support the soccer team as my last post shows. Instead of paying me, she fell in love with a client. I told him not to pay me. I was a road manager with her, getting her deals. I was solid to this girl. She got what she wanted and never paid me. Simple, I want money. Wow. So these women are like the evolution of like Tazz Angels, isn't it? So remember that guy had Tazz Angels where he had all these IG baddies he'd go around the world with, go to clubs and stuff, and they pop up in certain places. I guess now these girls are doing the same thing. That's pretty cool. So these girls have like a thing where they kind of gather or they kind of wrangle all these baddies. They take them around the world. That's a really interesting hustle, by the way. Take them to a football club and book them a stadium tour. Book them a stadium tour and hope that you bump into some players. You know? But then if they get together, then she owes you some money. I don't know how the fee. I would love to know how the fees work out. Like, how does this money work out? Is it like 10% of what? I don't know what the fee would be. Is it 10 grand? 20? I wonder what the percentage is. But that's an interesting hustle. But I can't, off the back of all this, right? One thing I also don't understand. Why don't people pay? What is it with bumping and scamming nowadays? Especially if you're a social media person. If you're a social media influencer. If you're a socialite. If you're an IG. If you're a popular person like Saweetie. Surely you know, if you try and scam someone, like there is a potential that if you bump somebody, which means scamming here in London, so slang for it, bump. If you bump somebody, right, there is a possibility that you could get away with it because the person isn't going to complain. They're small enough, they're not known enough, the story won't get any traction, it just disappears. But there's also the danger, if you bump somebody, they could expose you, and unfortunately, the exposing of the bump does more to like show that you're broke than it does to show that you're a hustler and whatever. You know what I mean? Because if someone finds out you bumped a restaurant for like £100 IG deal and you never posted about the restaurant on your stories, people are going to be like, rah, are you that damn bad that you didn't, you know what I mean? You took the money and ran. So I think in these particular circumstances, you bumping somebody does more damage than good. Even though you think you're safe, you're stealing the money, eventually when it gets exposed, you've lost, you know, now look at this. This girl was just asking for her money, according to her, if we believe her side of things. Now we find out all this information about Saweetie that we didn't know. I didn't know anyway. I didn't know Saweetie was some fucking escort. You know what I mean? I didn't know that's how her relationship with Jadon Sancho sorted out. I didn't know that's why she pops up all different places around the world. It's fucking insane. It truly is absolutely insane how much of a charade life is, isn't it? How much of a fucking charade life is. People are out here buying views, buying followers, curating their Instagram feed a particular way. They're flying around the world. They're not posting certain people, so you don't know that this is a trip that's been booked by a madame. You know? They're talking about, the other day I saw a clip of Saweetie talking about pretty privilege. Now all of a sudden here you are selling box. Like, god damn, man. Okay. Congratulations, everybody. Congratulations, everybody. Talking about congratulations, let's talk about Taylor Swift. Big up blood clot Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift dropped her new album, The Life of a Showgirl, the other day. Loads of controversy, loads of talking points regarding it. But I'd like to come from the point of view of being somebody that's not the biggest Taylor Swift fan. And I've also been on record to say that I think she sucks as an artist. There was a time, I think during COVID, when I went back and listened to every single album that she's put out. I think it was during COVID because she was going through that thing with Scooter Braun and her masters and shit. So I was just intrigued, isn't it? So I went through her discography, listened to every single album from Taylor Swift. And at the end of it, I came to the conclusion that this girl is shit and basic and average. And I just can't understand why she's as famous as she is. I didn't get it. Especially because at the time she was doing that tour. She did that tour that she was on where she's dancing horribly and she kind of awkwardly jumps into that fake pool. I hated all of it. So when I listened to the music, I thought it was fucking terrible. I have to categorically say, after listening to this album yesterday and a few days before that, this is maybe her best album that I've ever listened to. And I really enjoyed it. Coming from somebody that's not a fan of her, I really enjoyed this album. which is why I'm surprised and confused at all of the conversation online around it. Because people are like talking about, oh, all she talks about is boys and like old boyfriends and breakups. But that's what she's, of course, that's what she's about. It's like complaining that Pusha T and Clips only talk about cocaine and shit, right? Or Pusha T and fucking Malice, whatever the Clips, right? I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. But I think in terms of, forget the content or the context, in terms of a bop, in terms of hearing tunes that kind of give you a bit of a inclination to dance or bob your feet, tap your feet, bob your head, tap your feet. I think this Life of a Showgirl has way more of that than any of the previous albums I listened to. Like, I could actually dance to this album. This album sounds like a bop. And before, I didn't really think she had any bop whatsoever. I really fucking enjoyed it, which is why I'm surprised that people are going ragged on it. I even really enjoyed the Charlie XCX diss. And people know how much I love Charlie XCX. Actually Romantic, which, you know, people are kind of slating her because she maybe didn't interpret what Charlie XCX was trying to say in her single. What's her single called that she dissed her on? It's not actually. Is it Romantic? Something Romantic? It's not Romantic. What was it? I don't think it was Romantic. I think it was. Everything is Romantic. Maybe Sympathy is a Knife. That's the one. She dissed her on Sympathy is a Knife. Kind of Charlie XCX, right? But in that record Charlie XCX did, Sympathy with a Knife, it was less about dissing Taylor and more so about her saying that she felt insecure when Taylor was around. Taylor Swift, being the quote-unquote perfect Barbie, made her feel insecure because she's a certain way and Charlie's a certain way. Cool. I don't think there's anything bad about it. But Taylor Swift did say in her album, on a particular track, Actually Romantic, that there are things going on behind the scenes where she's heard that Charlie XCX has referred to her as a boring Barbie. Is always talking about her behind the scenes. And I think, unfortunately, when it comes to beefs with fans, because a lot of Charlie XCX fans or even Taylor Swift fans are kind of chastising Taylor for how she responded to Charlie. But I think the problem here is that we don't have enough information. We don't know. We're not privy to what goes on behind the scenes. We're not privy to what's said or gossiped around their social circles or close friends, whatever. We don't know. And I'm pretty certain, because of how women are with each other, when it comes to jealousy, envy, competition, and the way the music industry is set up, it wouldn't surprise me if Charlie XCX, who I probably prefer, obviously out of the two, is probably saying some stuff about her behind the scene, Taylor. It wouldn't surprise me if she has some stuff to say. Even re-listening to the track, she mentions a bit where before Taylor Swift used to go out with Matt Healy, by the way, which is a weird pairing anyway. I don't even know how they got together, but she used to go out with Matt Healy from the 1975, right, the lead singer. And Taylor Swift says in the track Everything Goes Romantic that Sympathy is a Knife, sorry. She's basically like, oh my god, I was hoping for so long that you and fucking Matt would split up, because I'm guessing at that time Charlie was also dating George Daniel, the guy that she's now married to, the drummer of the 1975. So she was like, yeah, every time I was watching them, I'd go and, watch them perform. I didn't want to meet you because it made me feel uncomfortable. And I thought that was a pretty crazy thing to admit. Like, you're wishing, you were hoping and rooting for my relationship to end to soothe your jealousy or whatever it may be. That's kind of fucked up. So I think Taylor had every right to say what she said. And I got to be honest, bro. I think Taylor cooked Charlie on that track. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking forward to Charlie's response. But I thought Taylor cooked Charlie on that track. The verse 1. I heard you call me boring Barbie when the cokes got you brave. High-fived my ex. Then you said you're glad he ghosted me. Wrote me a song saying it makes you sick to see my face. Some people might be offended. Right? So I think she ripped into her. But actually I think it's sweet. The other verse. Hadn't thought of you, by the way. Hadn't thought of you in a long time. But you keep sending me funny valentines. I know you think it comes off vicious, but it's precious, adorable. Like a toy chihuahua barking at me from my tiny purse. By the way, that kind of plays on the insecurity as well, right? The height differential and the size, because Taylor's like a big girl. She was on a show here in the UK recently. Jim Norton, is it George, whatever his name is, right? That fucking guy. And she was sitting on a chair and she looked huge. That's how much it hurts. How many times has your boyfriend said, why are we always talking about her? Wow. I thought she ripped into her, to be honest. I thought she did a really good job. So I'm really looking forward actually to hear what Charlie to say, but I thought she did a good job. But overall, I actually really enjoyed the album. There's a track on here that's one of my favorites, I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna be honest and say my two favorites on here are probably Cancelled and Honey. Cancel and Honey are probably two of my favorites. I really enjoyed that. I also don't have a problem too much about what she said in was it Opaliate or Affiliate, however you pronounce that word, track number 3, where people are suggesting that she might have insulted black women because she referred to herself as not being a bad bitch or something. I don't have a problem with that. I think people are going a bit too hard on Taylor, because I think part of her charm, part of why people like her, and saw someone chastising her the other day, is that she represents most women. I think most women who people refer to as boring and basic, because the internet thinks we're cooler, right? Everyone on the internet thinks they're cooler than everybody. Everybody on the internet thinks they're the coolest person in the world, but the majority of the world isn't that cool. The majority of people are just like, whatever. So I think she speaks to that person who also needs somebody for them to kind of, identify and relate to. I'm a little bit, perturbed about the constant attention she puts on men, personally. I think she's a little bit too male-centric for me, right, in terms of her gaze, whatever. But regardless, that's what she does. Let her do what she does. I don't really have a problem with what she said about bad bitches and whatever it may be in a connotation that may have, because, they refer to themselves as bad bitches. What's the fucking problem there? But the only issue I have with it is people's shock and being appalled by it, because I think most women, however counterproductive it is, think like this. I don't know. I would say, generally, I would assume there's not a lot of men that really care about who their girlfriends, wives, fiancés dated before them. They don't really care too tough. It doesn't really inform how they treat their girlfriends, how they interact with them, what they think of them. But I think women have a lot of hang-ups about who you dated prior. I know there are some women who, especially black women, who kind of get a little bit put off if they find out their guy who's black dated white women. It kind of puts them off a bit, or if they dated a conventional hop, I don't know. Women have a weird thing when it comes to, I don't know why. It's not my business. I'm not a woman, so I'm not going to get into women's business that way. But women do have a weird thing about how they place themselves on the totem pole, who they compare themselves against. So when she's talking about Travis Kelce's ex-girlfriends all being black and stuff, and kind of referring to them in a subtle way in that bad bitch thing, I don't think that's a bad thing, because there might have been a lot of self-doubt in her at the time that they were kind of dating and seeing each other in the beginning stages. She might have had a lot of self-doubt because she just probably Googled and said Taylor fucking Kelce's former girlfriends, and she probably saw him and was like, rah, I look nothing like these people. I don't sound like these people. I'm not from where they're from, but you're kind of interested in me. Why? So I can understand that kind of level of self-doubt. I think people who are getting at her for that, you're being unfair. Especially if you're a woman, you're being unfair. Because you know damn well, if you're in the same position that Taylor Swift was, you'd be saying the exact same thing. So I think people that are getting on her for that are being a little bit unfair. But let me show you what she said about them in terms of the bad bitches thing. Where is it? It's somewhere here, isn't it? It's somewhere here. I'm not a bad bitch or something, right? Is it bad? Where is it? Well, it's somewhere here. I'm not a bad. Is it that? It's not that one. I thought it's Affiliate. Maybe it's not Affiliate then. There's a song here that says something about being bad bitches. Eldest daughter, ruiner. Which one was it? I'm sure that was the one. This one says, I had a bad habit, missing past lovers. My brother used to call it eating out of the trash. It's never going to last. I thought my house was haunted. Bubbly bubbly bar, all the perfect couples. Let me Google it actually. Taylor Swift bad bitches. This is a bad bitch. What song was that? Biggest fans, Showgirl, Strategy, Decoded. Is it Eldest Daughter maybe? Let me see here. It says revealed and decoded. Let me see. I'll go through this article. I thought this was the one. Let me just write bad, and let's see if I can find it. But I forgot which one it was. I think it's Affiliate. I think that's the one. Bad. Yeah, that's one. Okay, it's Eldest Daughter. My bad. It's not Affiliate. Okay, it's Eldest Daughter. That was one everyone's talking about. So it's Eldest Daughter. Track number 5. So it says, everybody's so punk on the internet. Everybody's so unbothered till they're not. Every joke's just trolling and memes. Sad as it seems, apathy is hot. Everybody's cutthroat in the comments. Every single hot take is cold as ice. When you found me, I said I was busy. That was a lie. That's a cool little bar. I don't mind that. It also kind of reminds you of fucking Red Scare. I don't know why. When I heard that, I thought of Red Scare. I've been afflicted by a terminal uniqueness. I've been dying just from trying to seem cool. But I'm not a bad bitch, and this isn't savage. But I'm never gonna let you down. I'm never gonna leave you out. So many traitors, smooth operators, but I'm never gonna break that vow. I'm never gonna leave you now. I think that's really sweet. That's her acknowledging that, hey, I'm not like these girls. I'm not a bad bitch, but I'm not a savage, but I'm never gonna let you down. I'm never gonna leave you out. There's so many traitors, smooth operators, but I'm never gonna break that vow. That's fucking crazy. I love that. That's actually really, such a good way to kind of tell your man that, hey, I know I don't maybe compare to these women physically, right? When it comes to what they look like, maybe I don't bounce or whatever, twerk the same way they do. But one thing you can definitely depend on me is my love, my dedication, my commitment to you. I'm all for it, bro. I'm all for it. But that's my review of Taylor Swift's fucking album. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. Coming from somebody that doesn't really fuck with her albums or music at all, I really enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed even more her reaction to all of the negativity, all of the bad reviews this album's getting when she went on Zane Lowe. Honestly, that was such a cool reaction. She basically said, yeah, like, I'm not in the policing of criticism or art. Whatever you feel about the album, is valid. I put it that what I said is what I said. Whatever you think is what you think. We'll carry on. And I think she said some line about, yeah, but in like music entertainment world, as long as you're talking about my stuff, that's a good thing. Whether you're talking about we're talking about it good or bad, the fact that you're talking about it during the week that it's a fucking good thing. And I really agree with that. So big up Taylor Swift for being an artist on her level and not being butthurt or being thin-skinned about criticism. Says a lot about her in general. So I'm a fan of it. I recommend you go and listen to it. It's called The Life of the Showgirl. The only thing I'd say is the slight criticism. It did feel a little bit long. Even though it's 40 minutes, around track 7, I got a bit bored. Not gonna lie, a little bit bored. But then maybe because I'm not really a big fan. And I also felt like the volume. I know I shout a lot, but I also feel like the volume wasn't that high. It's similar to that Doja Cat's album. Like, why do some albums, why they mix that way? It's kind of low. I kind of felt like I didn't have it up on full volume. Even though I was wearing noise cancelling earphones, it kind of didn't feel like it was really that loud. So that was the only thing that I really didn't really enjoy about that album too tough. But apart from that, not too bad. Big up Blood Clot Taylor. Big up Blood Clot Taylor. And continuing on from that, right? Just as a kind of as an aside, can we talk a little bit about Chanel? Because some people out there aren't too happy. Some people out there aren't too pleased after all the wait that we had to do to see what Matthieu Blazy's Matthieu Blazy's idea of Chanel would be, right? The once Burberry Bottega Veneta designer. We were really curious to see what he would be doing. Oh, not Burberry, sorry, Bottega Veneta specifically. And because a lot of the previous designers, specifically Virgin Verrières, who was previously at Chanel, had done a pretty terrible job. And a lot of fashion fans, myself, girlies and stuff, were really upset and pissed off that every season we'd get a really mediocre, horrible, Chanel show. They finally booted Virgin and they gave Matthieu Blazy the role, and everyone was really excited. He's going to modernize Chanel. He was going to bring it into the new world, give us amazing looks, amazing moments. Oh, imagine that budget in the hands of Matthieu Blazy. Imagine all the stuff he did with Bottega Veneta, transpose over here, what he would do for Chanel, blah, 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 blah. We had to wait a long time for this show to be put out. And then when it did come out, it was good. Don't get me wrong, it was a good show. But I, myself, was watching it like, oh, okay, more of the same kind of. It did kind of feel like what he's done in his previous roles, in particular Bottega Veneta. It kind of felt like his interpretation of Chanel through his Bottega Veneta aesthetic, as opposed to anything else, which is not a bad thing. That's how he designs. But I think everyone kind of felt a little bit, a little bit underwhelmed. But I think this kind of goes to speak across the board with everything in culture, whether it's art, music, fashion, movies. Everything is kind of flattering to deceive. Nothing ever meets the expectation that you thought it would. You know, I think we build it up. We kind of hyped it too high. We hyped it too much, sorry. And eventually, you know, so it was unlikely that he was ever going to hit the heights that we were kind of hoping it would hit. But one thing is for certain, if you were in the gutter, if you were on the front line, having to watch that Virgin Veriad woman put out trash collection after trash collection, you deserve this. We all deserve this as fashion fans. We deserve to have a Chanel show to kind of cap the end of Paris Fashion Week that's actually good, that's actually fun, that doesn't make your eyes want to bleed, doesn't make your eyes want to water. Like, I really enjoyed the show overall. One of my favorite things about the show, I have to say, one of my favorite things about the show had to be the jackets. The jackets were definitely my favorite part. Although most of it was fucking great, I thought the jackets in particular were fucking amazing. I think he did a really good job with the subtlety of it. There wasn't a lot of big logos everywhere. I didn't feel like, I don't know if that's on purpose, but I feel like a lot of the logos were slightly hidden in brooches, on little pins and stuff. Very, very subtly done. I loved his interpretation of the classic Chanel tweed jacket, or that jacket that's collarless, right? He kind of did a really good job kind of flipping those, giving them phrase, different types of colors and shit. There was a little bit of a faux pas. A couple of the girls, no, one girl in particular, she had a pair of heels that she was not comfortable wearing. And then in one instance, she had one foot. She held the shoe in her hand, which looked quite chic. And then in another, and then as I saw her come around towards the end, she had both shoes in her hand because I guess she was feeling uncomfortable trotting with one foot. So maybe the shoes weren't the best made. I don't know. Which is kind of a sad thing because we already saw what happened with what's his fucking face the other day with Miu Miu, and now we're seeing maybe quality issues again with this, which I don't think is a quality issue. Maybe just the fact that, you know, sometimes you make stuff for the show, it doesn't get finished correctly, it doesn't get finished quickly, or whatever it may be, and it kind of comes up with some errors, or maybe she just isn't comfortable wearing heels. Either way, that was one thing. I also didn't mind the hats as well. This particular hat that this model's wearing is pretty fucking cool. It almost looks like a wig or like a mop. It's like the straw blonde hat thing. I think you're going to see that everywhere. It's going to be in every fucking editorial. This hat is going to be in so many editorials. One thing I was surprised by, which I shouldn't be because they did say they're not going to do menswear, there wasn't a single bit of menswear. Not a single, even a little trickle. Not a single bit. The only thing I saw that was menswear was that guy. What's his fucking name? The guy from The Mandalorian. He had a jumper he was wearing, a Chanel jumper. But I couldn't see any menswear things. I wonder if they will ever do that. If they will make some co-ed shit and just sprinkle some menswear jeans or hoodies or something in there, because we didn't really see any. But I thought the jackets were some of the strongest things I've ever seen here. Proportions were great. Some of the shirting was awesome. Some of the skirts as well. There's a particular skirt I'm going to show you towards the end that was fucking gorgeous. Like, look at that hat. That hat is fucking great, mate. Like, that is gorgeous. Even just the colors, the materials. I don't know if that's sequin or I think that's sequin, right? There's been a lot of sequin in it this season. I feel like there's been a lot of sequin used this season. Loads of sequin. Those are the heels some of the girls were not feeling that comfortable with. There was loads of stuff here. Some cool shirts again. Like, look at these shirts. Like, look at the cut on this shirt. These shirts are so gorgeous. With the two pockets on the front. It's almost like a jumper, isn't it? It looks like it's made out of silk as well. Some sort of silk fabric or something. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous top. It looks like a crew neck, but it's made out of like silk, with two chest pockets on the front. I think that's a gorgeous top. I'm not going to lie. And you got some little details there with Chanel here on the side. You see? But no real big logos. No discerning logos anywhere on here. Some of the bags are great as well that I saw too. But in general, not the 10 out of 10 debut we were expecting from Matthieu Blazy at Chanel. I think our expectations were really high because of when he took over at Bottega Veneta, working under the guy from fucking Burberry. That was an incredible debut. But then we also found out that he was the guy responsible for the great work they were doing anyway. So it wasn't that surprising. But the Chanel one like that, look at that skirt. Again, another skirt you're going to see in the editorial. That looks like I don't know, like a shredded rose or something. And look at that, even that shirt there. That shirt probably a menswear. Ooh, with pearl buttons. God damn, look at that. That is gorgeous. It's got pearl buttons on the top two buttons. And then you got this lovely Chanel embroidery on the bottom left. You got a straight hem shirt here. Sleeves rolled up. That's fucking great. I wonder if that was made specifically that way. I wonder if that shirt was cut in that particular way to allow it to fall in that way. So that if you're wearing a skirt like that, you can still see the hem and the waistband of the skirt. That's actually a cool little trick. That's a cool little tailoring trick or cut trick there as well. Look at that. Look at the collar on that jacket. Honestly, I think the jackets. Oh no, that's a necklace. No, man, it's not even a collar. Look at that necklace. I think the jackets are the strongest part. Whether they're blazers, whether they're coats, whether they're tweed jackets, I think the jackets are definitely the strongest part. But that hat, I need that hat. I'm not gonna lie. I think you might even see rappers in that hat. That straw hat, you might see rappers wearing that. That hat is so fucking hard. Woo! Me like it, me like it, me like it. There's one with rose at the end of it. I'll show you some of the stuff that I liked in particular. There's some really cool stuff here towards the end. Like, look at that jacket. Look at that coat. That double. It's almost like it's his version of like a trench coat, isn't it? Is that made out of leather? I feel like that might be leather with black leather trim. That is, even that bag is gorgeous. The leather on that bag is scrumptious, tumbled leather. But that's a beautiful, beautiful coat. So again, maybe it didn't hit up to the heady heights of what we're assuming. But is that the hat? Oh no, I think that might be his bag. But I did think he did a really good job. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I think I really look at that. That's a classic Chanel jacket. That I'm sure we're gonna see people like Brian Boy wearing a lot of this stuff, right? I'm pretty sure we're gonna see a bunch of Brian Boy fits wearing some of these jackets. Like, gorgeous. I'm assuming the detailing. Look at that. Some of the gold foils around there on the edges. Oh, so nice there. You cannot say that's not fucking koi. More frills at the bottom. One of the skirts I enjoyed, but I'm gonna show you a skirt. I think it was towards the end. Classic Chanel looks here with some of the tweed jackets. Like, look at this. Like, look at that. Even that jacket in that brown one. Woohoo! And you know, I don't usually like wearing brown stuff. As a black man, you kind of sometimes look a bit naked wearing that. But I really fucking enjoyed some of this stuff. That suit there. This one in grey, look number 45. You can't go crazy or wrong with that one as well. Damn, son. The heels are also kind of gorgeous. We've got a couple more bits here. Oh, look at that! Actually, is that a tweed? It's not a tweed. Is that a checkered, like a flannel fabric or pattern? Interesting, that, isn't it? And it kind of frays out there towards the bottom. So gorgeous, so gorgeous. Yeah, Matthieu Blazy did a great job. Matthieu Blazy did a great job. I think people are kind of, you know, going a little bit crazy because they thought it would be something else, but I think if you've been down in the dumps having to see what Virgin was doing, you know, post Karl Lagerfeld, then you'd know this is fucking fantastic. And I can't wait to see when he gets comfortable and gets his feet under the table, really, and settles down for real. Like, look at that, even that bag there. Look at that. That is gorgeous, bro. These bags are going to sell like hotcakes. I don't sure what material that is. Is that another pile? Stuff like, oof. These bags are going to sell like fucking hotcakes, mate. There's one in particular that I'm going to show you that's one of my favorites here. It's like a really long skirt. Now look, these jackets in particular. These two jackets are the hardest jackets ever. With the black and red stripes. Like, this to me feels like an updated version of a classic Chanel jacket, actually. I'm not going to lie. Look number 64 and look number 65. 65 and 64 might be some of my favorite jackets I've ever seen. Like, wow. And then, of course, I think that's the girl whose feet were hurting, actually, with the heels on. And the skirt is actually coming up. Two of the skirts. One there, look number 71 that I love the most. And, of course, look number 77 towards the end. But I thought one of the greatest things about this show for me had to be the fucking soundtrack. The soundtrack was fucking phenomenal. And I think that's how I'm going to probably end the show. The soundtrack was fucking phenomenal. It's going to be a quick little show right now. But this was the soundtrack that played during this, which I thought was absolutely phenomenal. Let me get this up for you, because this soundtrack, I think Matthieu Blazy absolutely killed it with this particular soundtrack at the fucking debut Chanel show. So big up Matthieu Blazy for absolutely killing it. Where is it? It's like a little Chanel. There we go. This one here. So fucking good. So fucking good. Let me put the sound on so you can hear it. There you go. This stuff here. even the set design with all the cosmos and the planets around, like me as well being the space buff, being the fucking exploration buff that I am, that is so fucking cool. The only thing that would have made it better is if there was a fucking holographic image of like a fucking SpaceX rocket just floating in between the fucking planets and shit. That would have been fucking amazing. Or just a Chanel spaceship anyway, a Chanel spaceship just traveling through. That would have been like a projection of it. That would have been so fucking cool. But regardless, so amazing. Look at that. And I love a lot of these skirts, a lot of these tops, the way they fucking flutter and move and bend and bounce as they're walking. Oh, the quality, honestly, the cut is so good. I loved it. Maybe it's because, again, I haven't watched a show in a long time, but seeing stuff move, apart from seeing stuff only on Vogue runway pictures, is so much different. It's even different, of course, when you see them up close, but seeing some of the stuff move as the models are walking through the hills, how they're proportioned, it's so good, man. A lot of the stuff, and I think it's all top of the shapes and sizes. I think a lot of women are going to be into this sort of stuff, regardless of what shape and size you are, which is, again, is another design challenge people don't give people like Matthieu Blazy at that level credit for. He's not only designing for, like, you know, skinny minis or cool kids, he's designing for like mums, you know what I mean, and aunties and stuff. Those who are really buying this clothes are ready to wear. So he fucking smashed it, I feel like. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Make sure you check it out if you haven't. Chanel Spring Summer Show, courtesy of Matthieu Blazy, debut collection. He absolutely killed it. I'm a big fan of it. Maybe it wasn't as high of a level as I thought it would be, but in terms of the debut, I think he did a fucking great job. Big up Matthieu Blazy. Can't wait to see what he does going forward. For those of you listening to the show via the audio side of the pod, I'm going to be signing out now. You'll be hearing my tune of the day. My tune of the day is courtesy from the one and only Taylor Swift, from the album Life of a Showgirl. I'm actually going to change the song. It'll be the one in the description. I'm going to call the song of the day for me will be Honey. I really enjoyed Honey. I thought Honey from that album is fucking great. Check it out. Really cool album. Can't wait to hear what Charlie XCX say as a reply to that track that Taylor Swift got, which is dissing her. But apart from that, I think you're going to really enjoy it. But everybody else, take care. Be safe. I'll see you guys in a bit. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Peace out. Bye.